Hello, everybody. And you can remain seated if you want. We don't need to stand. That's fine. You can stand if you'd like, but there's no ceremony at the beginning. Hi, everybody. It's really great to see you all. My name is Alain Barker. I'm currently the president of this club, very happily so. Today is September 13th, and this is our 11th, I believe that this is the 11th meeting of the year. So very happy to be here. Just sort of as an opening remark, I want to just mention how in the craziness of the world that we're living, with so much going on, so much intensity and so much news flowing in so many different directions, the humanity of our lives is so central to everything that we do. And I was reminded of that yesterday, because yesterday happened to have been my birthday. And so, well, thank you very much. Not that I need to celebrate it anymore, because there was a flood of reminders of the humanity in which we exist yesterday, which I was deeply grateful from my family, from friends, and from many of you. So thank you very much. I also want to mention that there are two other lucky folks whose birthdays it is on September 12th. So let's celebrate with them. Wendell St. John and Betsy Trotsky. So yes, happy birthday to you. And the interesting thing is that those are the only birthdays this week in this club. So something special about September 12th. Okay, member anniversaries, we're going to move to them as well. Byron Bangard has been a member of this club for 37 years, which is totally fantastic. And he was a member of Hinton, West Virginia Club. He was a founding member of Hinton, West Virginia Club for 2 years before then. And he told me that he was the treasurer of Winton, West Virginia when he left. So let's hope that they still survive. Or that they survived that one. Chris Michael Morrison, 3 years. Congratulations to him as well. Okay, introduction of our guest, Aaron Brewington. Would you like to come up and do that?
Welcome guests. Please stand when I call your name so you can be properly introduced. So Rotary, we have several guests. We have John Miller, the current president. Please stand. Trinity Lee. Joanna Regaldo. Yaya Cater. And then guests of Jim Bright, we have Erica Kovacs. Bill Garber. Sarah Cochran. And then Rotary past president, Megan Gerhart. And guest of Bill Perkins, Phyllis Perkins. And if you're interested in joining Rotary, please talk to somebody at your table.
Thank you so much, Aaron. And I haven't forgotten, Joy, would you like to introduce any of the guests online?
Yes, thank you for that, Alain. And we have one very special guest joining us on Zoom this afternoon. The current president of the Bloomington Sunrise Club, Carolyn Fry, is joining us, guest of Jim Bright. Yay, Carolyn.
Great to have Carolyn with us.
Yes.
And, oh, go ahead, sorry.
That is all. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Joy. And thank you so much for helping us with the online hosting. And just to mention how wonderful it is to have people from around the world with us, from Mexico, from Brazil, and from where are you? Yeah, you're from here. Great. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anywhere else? And me, I'm originally from South Africa, but it's great. It's great to be part of an international organization that is so committed to service above self. And it's continually inspiring to see how much the International Rotary really does around the world and inspires us as we do our work. Okay, well, we have Mike Baker, who's going to come and do the reflection today. And before Mike Baker, well, as Mike Baker comes up, just want to remind you all that October 4th is going to be a very, very special evening. We're substituting our weekly meeting for an evening at Mike's beautiful farm. And we're going to be sending you a reminder on email this afternoon. So please go ahead and sign up and let us know what you'd like to bring in the form of a salad or a dessert or something like that. Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I guess it was a few weeks ago, I was at one of the meetings and somebody announced that I'd been in the club for 30 years. It was an anniversary and I just started thinking about that. And I tried to think about really what I get out of Rotary, other than the camaraderie and meeting so many people here, friends. Good to see you, Charlotte. But when I first joined, back then, they recommended that you contribute to the Rotary International Foundation. I said, okay. They were talking about every Rotarian every year. And it's maybe $25 a quarter. I thought, yeah, that's fine. I can do that. What's that for? They said, well, that's for international stuff. I said, okay, yeah, well, that's good but I'm really interested in doing stuff locally. But okay, $100 isn't a bad deal. And then over time, we would have programs. And then every once in a while, even on ABC or CBS News, there'd be something about a flood somewhere, children without food, polio vaccines being done, and that would be on TV. And I think, well, I think that's part of what Rotary International does. That's what part of my money is going for. But I felt pretty good about that. And over the years, I learned more about what Rotary does in the world. And same thing, you go home, you watch the news, you see a flood, you see some disaster somewhere, and you think, what? I feel like we ought to write a check or do something. We're fortunate enough we could do something. And I thought, no, I'm going to do it through Rotary because the dollars add up between all of us, millions of people all over the world. And I look back and I'd say that's probably one of the most proud things that I've gotten from Rotary is feeling that I've done something for people all over the world. I'll never meet them. They'll never know where the money comes from, but it's a small thing that we can all do. So you might consider that in the future if you're already contributing to Rotary Foundation. Great, maybe up the ante a little bit. If not, you might consider it. And then watch the news. When you see what's happening with polio and you see projects throughout the world that Rotary is doing, the small dollars that we contribute all help towards that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. And just it once again reminded me of my experience in Houston when I went to the international convention and realizing that I could meet people from anywhere in the world as Rotary members. And I was instantly a friend of theirs and instantly had a sense of connection and purpose and service and devotion to the causes that Rotary International is so effective at producing. And this idea that we're part of a community of what was 1.6 million people, 36,000 clubs in all parts of the world. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about that today as well in another part of my my comments here. But thank you so much and thank you so much for your service to the club. A few membership, one member update that I just want to mention. Some of you may have heard that Liz Irwin's former spouse passed away very unexpectedly this past week. We have her in our thoughts. We have her family in our thoughts. It's been a very difficult time for her. So just wanted to let you know that if any of you know her and want to reach out to her, I think she would really appreciate that. Club updates. Kate Cruikshank has been involved in this absolutely amazing, monumental task of sorting out our archives. And she sent me a very long email through the week, giving me an update on some of the things that she's been doing. And she'll give you a full presentation sometime when the time is right. I think sometime in October or November, she's going to be doing a full presentation. But she mentioned that she has literally hundreds of flags from all over the world that have been given to us by some of the relationships that we have developed over the years as a club. And I'm interested, being South African of origin, that one of the flags comes from a tiny little kingdom that is surrounded by South Africa called Lesotho. And there is a Rotary Club in Maseru, which is the capital of Lesotho, and we have one of their flags. So that's pretty amazing. Another one is that the Club of Johannesburg, which is the main commercial city of South Africa, the club was formed there in 1921. And it was the first club on the African continent. And we have a flag of theirs as well. Pretty good. I've mentioned the Oktoberfest celebration. Please make sure that you're all there. It would be really fabulous to see. There are going to be some special activities during that meeting, which I think you will really love. So another bonus of being there. I want to give a big shout out to the November 4th Rotary Toast for Gladys Devane. You all know about it. We want to be able to tell our friends. This is going to be a very, very special event, as last year's was for Charlotte Zietlow. We're very proud of the success of that event, and we want to be able to build on that. So please help us being an advocate for this event. Tell your friends and urge them to join us. Definitely worth it. And also gives us an opportunity to share the substance and value of what we do as a club, as 3 clubs in the Bloomington community. So it's a huge opportunity for us to get the word out about what we do. Just to remind you about that. Tim Jessen, would you like to come and talk about the refugee project?
Thank you very much, Alon. Sarah Laughlin kind of drafted me into this, helping with the refugee community. And I've had some involvement with some other organizations and churches, but we got our refugees already. And Sarah had a wonderful pitch-in potluck dinner at her house last night, and we met this family. They are, talk about parts of the world, they're from Afghanistan. And we have heard about that, of course, in recent days as well. They do not, they're to the parents, and then a son and daughter who are 20-somethings. And we had a small group, but we welcomed them. And I called Sarah before coming here, said, this needs to be announced. She says, I'm at my sister's closet with Sandy Keller picking out some garments for the women. And so we're going to be in that full steam, and we will need your help. And encourage you to pitch in however way you want to. I'm not saying we're going to immediately meet this family right here in our meeting, but I think along the way we will get acquainted with them, and there'll be things for you to do. So just chalk that up as another thing that we're doing in the community that relates us to the world and world peace. Thank you.
They may need that we can start looking around the house. Sewing machine.
I don't have that list, but I'll see it gets in the roundabout. Thank you. A good question.
I did get a call for a sewing machine. So if anybody has a sewing machine that they want to share, that would be fabulous. Charlotte, you may have one. That's good. You know, I want to thank you very much, Tim, for being involved in that on that committee. And I'm hoping that I've got everybody else included here, but I'm just going to mention their names. Sally Gaskell, with Sarah Laughlin, obviously the chair of the committee and doing an incredible amount of work to make this happen. Dave Meyer, likewise, who in his church has also been responsible for facilitating one of the families, another Afghani family that's been in Bloomington for a while, and one of the assistants in this project as well. Jim Bright, Sally Gaskell, Jeff McKim, and Cindy Nyhart. So I want to just give them a round of applause and thank them for that. Truly service above self. Okay, well, let's, I think there's time for some happy dollars. I've already said mine. September 12th was the day to celebrate, but if anybody has some happy dollars that they would like to share, go ahead. Yeah.
All right, 5 happy dollars, 4 of which go to my 4-year-old's birthday on September 1st. So exciting times, you know, soccer, gymnastics, all the awesome stuff with a 4-year-old. But then I want to give another $1 because RILA is coming together. And we currently have commitment forms from many different clubs, and it puts us at 56. My goal for this, you know, resurgence was to get to 50. We are going to be exceeding that most likely in this first year and over 2 years that we are going to be back at Bradford Woods. So second thing is, if anybody's interested, Megan, thank you. I don't know where you are, but
right,
we need some chaperones for overnight for each of the 3 cabins. So it could be one night, it could be all both nights, but just email me if you have any interest in getting back involved with RILA. Thank you.
And Lauren, thank you for your leadership in that very much. I'm going to quickly jump in and say, I'm going to give my 63rd birthday $63 for Teachers Warehouse. So, Anybody else? I'm sure anybody online want to share something with us for the week? You just start talking if that's the case. Nobody else? Nobody else? Nobody else going? Oh, Lynn. Yeah, somebody's got to say something.
I just got to have a couple bucks. I was able to leave town for a few days and go back east and get my fill of New York. And my business is still standing. So there you go.
And Lynn, I want to thank you in advance for helping Mike with the event coming up on October 4th, because I know that you're a big part of that. Great. Oh, we've got another one here. Steve.
Happy bucks. I just found out that my seventh grade grandson made the A team on his school football team, made the first
Great.
string. He's pretty happy about it.
Excellent. Excellent. Anybody from our Rotaractor group that you want to share some happy dollars? You could share $1 for a thought. How about that? I'll sponsor $1 for a thought.
Yes.
By Charlotte.
I have $20 happy dollars because two of my children, that's all I have, are coming to visit me next week. I'm very excited about that.
Great. That's really wonderful. Good. I think that's it for now. Good. Oh, we do have a happy dollar. Oh, excellent. We have a happy penny.
Sorry, we're students and we don't have money. But I have a happy quarter for all the people that came out and volunteered at Hilltop Gardens, all the Rotaractors that came and helped out. It was a really fun time.
Good. Yes, thank you. And how many Rotaractors are there right now? 30. That's very impressive because you started the year with like 3 or something, right? So that's very impressive. Thank you.
Oh, I'll stand up. Not that old yet. I know we're nonpartisan. That's one reason I like being involved with this and a bunch of other stuff. Just a community. But many of you know that I serve on city council. I'm not asking for anything other than since the second term, we've been involved in a lot of stuff. And I always invite input. And I know some of you say, I like what Jim's doing, right? But I don't like what Jim's doing. Feel free to contact me either through my city email account or through the email I use for Rotary. And just tell me your thoughts. And that helps process my thinking. So thank you all very much.
Great. Thank you. Jeff.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome again Bill Yarber, who's here today. Bill is a rock star professor in the School of Public Health, but also is very involved with the Kinsey Institute. And a lot of you might not have seen it yet, but this sculpture is like breathtaking that is on display now behind Lindley Hall by Simon Hall as well. And Bill was the major contributor to that sculpture and a significant donation to make that possible. And in honor of the 75th anniversary of the Kinsey Institute. So in honor of both Bill and the Kinsey Institute, I'd like to give $75 to Rotary.
Wow, that's
Happy
great.
dollars. I might
Thank
add.
you. You're
Thank you.
one-upping me on that one. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. And Jeff, you'll be up here in a moment, I think. Yeah, so thank you. Right. Well, I think that's happy dollars for now. It's great to hear the news from everybody. And I want to just acknowledge a few people here. Aaron Brewington, thank you very much for greeting people at the door and then also welcoming our guests. Tyler Nichols, thank you so much for leading the charge with our technology. Really, really great. Joey Harder, as always, thank you so much on Zoom. And then Mike Baker for his reflection. And this month's report, the Roundabout Reporter always should actually get a round of applause every single week because it's so much work and they're truly fantastic. Bill Perkins, thank you so much for doing that as well. Yeah. Okay, so we have our program. We have a very special program today, and I'm going to invite Jeff to come and introduce our speaker.
Thank you. So before we get started with all of the discussion of the monarchy with Queen Elizabeth passing, and also Elaine mentioning Lesotho. So this is a kind of a pop quiz for our friends here today. There's only 3 kingdoms left in Africa, and Lesotho is one of them. Simi afterwards for the other two, and I'll buy you dinner anywhere you want in Bloomington. So we're pleased to have with us today our keynote speaker, Rotary Global Grant Scholar, Cameron Davidson of Salem, Indiana. And I should add another claim to fame of Bill Yarber is he's from Salem, Indiana. So the title of Cameron's talk, What Rotary Has Given Me and How I Am Giving Back. In just a couple of weeks, Cameron, a graduate of the University of Southern Indiana in Evansville, will begin his second year at the University of Salamanca in Spain, where he is using his $40,000 scholarship to pursue a master's degree in global and international studies, focusing on nationalism and conflict management. Like other Rotary scholars, Cameron had to present a plan of study and a career commitment that aligned with one of the Rotary Foundation's 7 areas of focus. Cameron's area of focus, peace and conflict prevention and resolution. After receiving his master's degree, Cameron wants to work as a foreign service officer in the US State Department and the Bureau of Human Rights, Democracy, and Labor to provide and to promote peace and instill democratic values in Europe. During his years at Salem High School, Cameron participated in Rotary Youth Leadership Awards at Bradford Woods and as a Rotary Youth Exchange student in Mexico. He also won Rotary's 4-way test speech contest. As a Rotary Global Scholar, Cameron is hosted in Spain by the Rotary Club of Salamanca. Please join me in extending a warm Rotary welcome to Rotary Global Grant Scholar, Cameron Davidson.
Thank you very much. I'm going to keep my phone up here so I can keep an eye on the time because I don't want to go too long. So thank you for the introduction. My name is Cameron Davidson, as he said. I'm from Salem, Indiana, and I'm very happy to be speaking with you guys today. So as you know, I am the Rotary Global Grant Scholar for the year 2020 through 2021. So in this presentation, I'm going to be talking about this scholarship. I'm going to be talking about my master's program in Spain, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about how I'm giving back to my community in Salamanca. So, oh, found it. Oh, okay. So just to give you a little information about the Rotary Global Grant Scholarship. So this scholarship is awarded to a graduate student who's pursuing a master's degree overseas. And this scholarship provides $40,000 by the Rotary Foundation to spend the money on any essential expenses such as tuition, housing, and things like that. So the scholar has to present a plan of study in one of Rotary's 6 areas of focus. I guess there's 7 now. They've added a new one. Okay, there was 6 when I applied for it. So the one I chose was peace and conflict resolution. I'm going to get a little more into that in just a second. So I was selected for this scholarship in January of 2021 for my graduate program at the University of Salamanca in Spain. So this scholarship comes with some expectations. So first of all, you kind of act as an ambassador between the different districts. So from my home district of 6580 to my host district of 2201 in Salamanca. I also act as a cultural ambassador for the United States. So I keep in mind that my actions often reflect the country that I come from. And some people have never met Americans before. So it's always an interesting thing. And then finally, to involve myself and my community as much as possible to really embody Rotary's motto of service above self. So I will be talking more about that in just a second. So we kind of already touched on some of my earlier experiences with Rotary. So in 2015, I won the 4-way speech contest in Salem for the Rotary Club. I won $100, which was fantastic for a 15-year-old. And I also attended the RILA leadership camp at Bradford Woods. And while I was doing this leadership retreat, I met a lot of Rotary Youth Exchange students from around the world, and it really opened my perspective to leaving the country and to seeing what else was out there. So in 2016, I participated in the Rotary Youth Exchange program where I spent a year in Mexico. I was learning about Mexican culture. I was learning Spanish. I was participating with my Rotary Club there. And then fast forward 4 years to 2020 when I started applying for the Rotary Global Grant Scholarship. And that's where I'm at today. So here are just some pictures. And this first picture is a picture of me with my host parents from Mexico. I was really blessed to have an amazing host family. I still keep in touch with them today. They actually came to the US to visit me last year. So we have a lot of really good relations. And then in this middle picture, this was me at our final Rotary conference. So this was part of the flag ceremony where everybody took a flag from their different countries. And of course, I have my trademark Rotary blazer with all of the pins and buttons from people I've met from around the world. So if you've ever done Rotary Youth Exchange, you know what I'm talking about. It was a really cool experience to see all of the young people from around the world come together who would have otherwise never known each other. And they're all unified by the same thing, and that's Rotary. And then in this last picture, I thought this was kind of a funny picture. So my Rotary Club in Celaya, which was the city I studied in Mexico, every year they did a live nativity scene for their Christmas party. So they love to show off their 2 international students. So here I am dressed as Joseph, and my friend Mary, oddly enough, was dressed as Mary. So it was a fun party. It was great to meet a lot of Rotarians from around Mexico and from around the world. And so I feel like those pictures really sum up my experience with Rotary. So this is just a little map just to give you an idea of a visual idea of where I've been in the different districts that I've been involved with. So of course, 6580, our home district, 4140 in Mexico where I studied, and now 2201 in Spain, in Salamanca. So I want to give you a little information about my university, so you know a little bit about it. This is one of the oldest institutions in Europe. It was actually established in 1218. So if you can imagine an institution that's almost 1,000 years old. It sits at the heart of the historic city of Salamanca in Spain, which is located in the western region. So you can kind of see on the map, it's right by the border with Portugal. So I am getting my master's degree in global and international studies with a specialization in nationalism and conflict management. So some of the courses I've taken so far are global migration, nations and nationalism, negotiation, and history of international conflict, along with a lot of others. So I'm a year into my program. I have another year left to go, and I will be returning to Salamanca in 3 weeks to finish my last year of classes. 2 classes that I really enjoyed were called conflict management and humanitarian projects. One reason that I really enjoyed these classes was because I feel like they really embodied what Rotary is about. So in my conflict management course, we talked about resolving conflicts in every aspect of life, in your personal life and business relationships, and of course on the big international political scale. And then in our humanitarian projects class, we had the amazing opportunity to be taught by a gentleman who owns a nonprofit in Berlin. And he has helped organize humanitarian projects all over the world, Guatemala, Sudan, Somalia. And so it was amazing to be able to hear about this firsthand from someone who has a lot of experience working in humanitarian projects. And so we talked about the ethics of humanitarian projects. We talked about creating sustainable change to empower communities to be able to provide for themselves. And it was just an amazing class. So this picture right here, this is actually the historic university. This is no longer a university, so it's just a museum now. But most of the classes take place in the buildings around this university, right in the historic center of the city. I unfortunately do not take classes in these buildings. Mine is in a really modern building that was built in the 80s. It's about a 30-minute walk outside of the city. So I don't really get to see this when I go to class, but I still live close enough to where I can walk by it every day. I promise I don't work for the tourism department in Salamanca, but I do really want to talk a little bit about the city and show you guys all the amazing things that are there. So this first picture is a picture of a bridge. This bridge was constructed during the Roman Empire and it still stands today. And this is an amazing place in the city to lay down a blanket, bring your textbooks and just study for hours. It's one of my favorite places to study and it's definitely a big tourist attraction in Salamanca. To the right side, you see in Spanish, this is called La Casa de las Conchas, which in English is like the house of shells. So you can kind of see these little dots on the wall are seashells. This is the oldest library in Salamanca. So it's a free public library. You can go there and check out books. And it's also a museum where they have a lot of texts on display that date back to the Middle Ages. So it's a big historic center of Salamanca as well. And I really like this library because I feel like it embodies what Salamanca is. Salamanca is a huge university city, so people come from all over the world to study a lot of different things. And this is also a great place to study. I have a lot of good study place recommendations of the city. Right here, so this is the central plaza of the city. This is called the Plaza Mayor. this is a really great place for just that typical European energy, sit down, sip a coffee, and just not have a care in the world. It's also very historic. It was built in the 18th century. So there's a lot to learn just by going to this plaza and just having a cup of coffee. And then, of course, on the right is a picture of my university, the old university. Here are some more pictures. So on this very top picture, where I'm speaking into a microphone, this was an interview I conducted with the university about the Rotary Global Grant Scholarship. So I had about 3 minutes to talk about the Rotary Club. I talked about my scholarship and the different opportunities that I've been given from Rotary. So this radio station was broadcast throughout the entire region. So a small part of me is hoping that somebody was listening and maybe now knows a little bit more about Rotary that they didn't know before. On the picture below that with the flags, this picture was taken at my first Rotary meeting with my Rotary Club, the Rotary Club Salamanca. So unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this club has been really affected in terms of membership. So now they're down to about 7 members, and it's really difficult for them to conduct projects, but they're very nice people, and they've assured me that anything I need while I'm in Salamanca, they will definitely help me with. I liked these 3 flags because I think it shows the different levels that Rotary exists on. So of course you have the flag of Rotary International. You have the flag of the European Union that shows the regional projects that Rotary does, and as well as the Spanish flag to show the national projects that they do. And then this picture is just me with my friends. There's no reason for that picture. I just like to show you that I do have friends there. And then the Plaza Mayor again. I have a lot of pictures of that. Some more pictures. So this top one was me with my roommates. I threw a Thanksgiving Day dinner for all of my international friends so that they could have an authentic Thanksgiving experience. Couldn't find turkey in Spain, so we settled for chicken. But it was still a really cool experience. And we brought our flags and we kind of did like a little picture thing with it. And then this picture right here. So this was on my first day because for the first semester in Salamanca, I was actually an English teacher. And this tag is my security tag because I was teaching English at a military base to pilots and air traffic controllers. So this was my first day. I no longer do it because it doesn't really fit well with my schedule of classes, but it was an amazing experience to have just for 6 months. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about how I've been given this amazing opportunity and how I'm giving back to my own community. And the answer to this is an organization called Acoge. So this organization is a nonprofit that works to expand access of social services to asylum seekers, refugees, and immigrants living in Spain. The word acoge in Spanish means like to welcome. So I think it's a really good word for the kind of work that they do. So my responsibilities as a volunteer, I have 4 primary responsibilities to work with these families to expand their knowledge of communication in Spanish. A lot of these families come from Afghanistan and Ukraine and have no knowledge of the Spanish language, so they need people to help train them and help teach them the language of the country that they now live in. I'm supposed to help accompany them to important meetings. So these could be doctor's appointments, these could be visa appointments, just somewhere where I can help with communication, make sure that there is a good understanding of what they need to do. I check on the general well-being of these individuals. So it's important to note that these are classified as vulnerable communities, meaning that a lot of them come from traumatic histories and experiences, and just understanding how that plays into their well-being, and then to help provide needed social support as well. So basically just being their friend and making sure they don't feel lonely in their new city. I would like to point out that none of these pictures I actually take because as a volunteer, we're not permitted to take pictures of our families because they're protected as vulnerable communities, but these are pictures that are made public by the organization on their website. So my official volunteering hours are Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 12, and I say official because there's a lot of unofficial work that goes into it as well. A lot of my families have my personal number, so I get texts and calls at every hour of the day. So just some pictures that I got from the website. This organization does adult education classes. So they help teach literacy, they teach financial management, and they teach a lot of different things that these families need. On the right, you can see a tabling event that we had in the Plaza Mayor. So this is just to get funding to raise money for our organization. They do a lot of trips and a lot of, I guess, like cultural experiences with the families to help them get to know the new country that they've come to. So they do hiking, they do tours of the city. Here you see arts and crafts that they do for the children, and they do cooking classes for the parents if they if they need that, because you have to remember that a lot of these people come from places where some of the food in Spain isn't there and they're not really sure what it is or how to cook it necessarily. So we do provide classes in that as well. Just some more pictures. This first image is a picture of two young girls holding a sign that says no to childhood marriage. So that just gives you an idea of some of the conditions that a lot of these families are fleeing and the motivations that they have for coming to Spain. And then in the right, this is just a cute picture of a little project that they were doing in the garden with some of the kids from the family. So I thought it was cute and I put it in there. So you might be asking yourself, what is next for Cameron? And I promise I ask myself that same question every single day. I'm still thinking about it, so I'm not really sure what will be next. But I'm currently looking for as many opportunities as I can in the field of conflict management and humanitarian aid. I've been trying to apply for some internships with the United Nations, with the European Union, but also with smaller organizations like Acoge, the one that I'm working with right now. So thankfully next semester, I will have the opportunity to apply for internships through my graduate program. So hopefully this gives me a better idea and helps me build connections in this area of work. And I've been in a lot of contact with a lot of the professors that I have, and they've been giving me really good advice on, how to get into this work, what kind of qualities you need as someone who works in conflict management. So this presentation was really important to me because I know that a lot of you sometimes don't see the benefits that come from the Rotary Foundation. But I would just like to remind you that everything I have is from the Rotary Foundation, and it's made possible by people who make contributions to the foundation. So I'm basically what you're investing in. And I really appreciate that Rotary Club is an organization that does invest in young people, because young people have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of inspiration, and we do have the motivation to make a positive impact in the world. So thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation, and I'd like to open the floor to any questions or comments that anyone would like to make.
Cameron, I thought people might find it interesting if you could speak to the process on how you were selected. What did you have to do? How did you find out about it? Yeah, just how did it unfold for you?
Yeah, so I found out about the Rotary Global Grant Scholarship Program from Facebook, oddly enough. One of the Rotarians that I'm friends with on Facebook shared an article publishing an ad for this scholarship. So I knew about it for a while. I also originally applied for the Fulbright Scholarship Program through the US Department of State. So these were the two scholarships that I really wanted to try my best to receive. So for the Rotary Global Grant Scholarship, I had to write some essays. I had to present a plan of study, talk about how I was going to use this master's degree to make some kind of positive impact in my area of focus. So it was kind of a lengthy process. I had a whole application that I submitted with some recommendations from my professors. We sat through some interviews with a panel with the selection committee, and then I was given a call by you saying that I was selected. So it was a little bit of a longer process, but it was definitely worth it. And it was really nice. I've been working with the Rotary Foundation since I got the scholarship on tweaking some of my essays to create a more clear idea. So it's not really something that ends, but I think that's one of the great things about the scholarship. Yes.
I don't really have a question.
Okay.
I just want to congratulate you on such an amazing period of time. I mean, you're incredibly young and have accomplished quite a bit. And I appreciate the fact that you've taken advantage of Rotary in the area, in your district, and taken so many opportunities that we have to offer.
Yeah, thank you so much. I never stop talking about Rotary to a lot of my friends because I'm like, you guys have no idea how much it's changed my life. And I'm pretty sure that I would not be on this path that I'm on right now if it weren't for my experiences with Rotary when I was younger. So
Thank you for everything. And it's amazing that some of this experience started with Ryla. And we're excited after a 2-year hiatus to be back going to Bradford Woods. And you're the motivating factor for me to continue to commit time and energy to this. And I'm glad our club is committing resources to it and getting back into the woods at Bradford Woods. So thank you. And love to have you stop by for a night or an afternoon. But super general question. Why Spain?
Great question. So as you know, I told you I studied in Mexico. So for me, something really big was continuing to learn my Spanish, practice my Spanish and improve it as much as. And I'd never been to Europe before. So Europe and Spanish, you really only have one option. But it wasn't just because of that. Spain is a very interesting country. It has a really complex history. It has a really complex political situation right now. And I just thought it was a really good choice for what I wanted to study.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to ask a question here. So we talk about peace and reconciliation here. And, obviously it's within a political framework and it's within a setting, economic and otherwise cultural, that is particular to the United States. And that's where you grew up, Salem, Indiana. And then you went to Mexico and then you went to Spain and you've essentially been studying this. Give us a sense of how your idea of reconciliation and peace building around the world might have shifted as a result of the studies that you've been doing.
So do you mean shifting from
Perspectives. Just how do they see it?
Yeah.
How does Spain see it?
Yeah, this is actually a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. I know oftentimes in the United States, we see ourselves as very privileged and we try to take advantage of this privilege by giving to others as much as we can. But you kind of have to be careful of where you draw the line between humanitarian aid and imposing upon other countries. And this is a really big topic that we discuss in my class about the ethics of humanitarian projects. And as you've seen from the passing of Queen Elizabeth, a lot of people are very upset about the colonial history of the British Empire, for example, and there are a lot of similar sentiments towards the United States. So I wouldn't say necessarily that my perspective has changed too much, just more how I approach the topic of humanitarian aid and how we can give to others, again, talking about sustainable change while also empowering communities to care for themselves as well.
Cameron, it's absolutely fantastic to have you with us. Thank you so much. In lieu of an acknowledgement in kind, we contribute every week to an organization in town, and there's a fantastic organization in town called New Hope Families that you might have heard of, and we contribute to them. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, and as I was thinking about people that we thank in our club, the one person who I never have on the list here, but I think we should give a round of applause, is to Natalie Blaze for everything that she does to keep us going. Natalie is always there. She's always making it happen behind the scenes, and somehow these meetings just miraculously happen. So thank you, Natalie, very much. Okay, next week we'll be meeting here again in the Georgian room, and Jim Shea will be with us. He's been traveling, but he will be with us, which will be nice to see. And he'll be introducing a really fascinating person who I've known for a number of years. Her name is Kadi Borner. She's the Victor H. I don't know how to pronounce this. YNGVE, Yengve, Professor of Engineering and Information Science. She's also a distinguished professor of Engineering and Information Science. She's going to be talking about mapping science. She is absolutely phenomenal. And I would suggest that you bring your friends and tell your friends to come on Zoom because she's going to be very interesting to listen to. So thank you for the program committee for making that possible as well. And with that, let's share our four-way test, 4+1. We can stand. Thank you. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, second, third, fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, do we have fun? Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.